Georges Louis Leclerc, Comte de Buffon, born on 7 September 1707 in Montbard in France, died on 16th April 1788 in Paris, in France. Georges Louis Leclerc, Comte de Buffon, said the discoveries that one can make with the microscope amount to very little. For one sees with the mind's eye and without the microscope the real existence of all these little beings. Georges Louis Leclerc, Comte de Buffon, was a French naturalist, mathematician, cosmologist, and encyclopediste. His works influenced the next two generations of naturalists, including Jean-Baptiste Lamarck and Georges Cuvier. Buffon published 36 quarto volumes of his history natural during his lifetime, with additional volumes based on his notes and further research being published in the 2 decades following his death. Ernst Mayr wrote that truly Buffon was the father of all thought in natural history in the second half of the 18th century. Buffon held the position of intendant director at the Jardin du Roi, now called the Jardin des Plantes. Georges Louis Leclerc, Comte de Buffon, said the discoveries that one can make with the microscope amount to very little. But for one sees with the mind's eye, and without the microscope, without the support of the parents, without the support of the government, without the bookish knowledge, the real existence of all these little beings. The discoveries that one can make with the microscope, yes, it's very little, amount to very little. You will see, yes, microscope, you'll see very little. What little you want to see, or what the government wants you to see, or what your teachers want you to see, or what the society wants you to see, because they have decided you are nothing but a domesticated animal, a buffoon, a clown in the circus, a good for nothing, a slave with a lot of so-called bookish intelligence. So what you see is very narrow-minded, only a small part, like you are a frog in a pond, and the frog from the big lake comes to the pond, and it talks about, they both discuss, and the lake pond says, "Oh, your pond is so small. Mine is huge." And the pond said, "How big is yours? Is it?" And the pond frog jumps from this side to the other side, and that side to this side. Is it this big? And he said, No, I cannot explain. It is that. It's so big. And the frog from the pond couldn't believe this man is telling the truth. It is a lie. So what you see from the microscope is like you are a master in the pond, a frog in the pond. The ocean is vast. And for the vast ocean, you have to have your own individuality. Move with the crowd, they say, but be an individual in the crowd. Move with the crowd, or the crowd can trample you to death. But you are allowed, you force yourself to move with the crowd, and you start shouting at people like us because it doesn't flow with you. Everything coming out from your mouth stinks because it's all borrowed knowledge. There's no practical thing. And they have dragged you into the big cities so that you will shut your mouth, make you a nobody, drag you to the companies, to the factories, make you an IAS officer, a KS officer, make you a police officer, so that you will only listen to two things, Saudan and Vishra. Two things. Attention, please. That's all you know. Not more than that. You're always waiting for the gospel or truth coming out from the dirty mouth of your dirty masters. Hence, Georges Louis Leclerc, Comte de Buffon, said the discoveries that one can make with the microscope amount to very little. Hence, your discoveries are to suppress people. Your discoveries are to carry the orders and to pain others because you have been pained, you have not been given freedom, so you don't want to give freedom to anybody. Hence, Jiddu Krishnamurti is telling, one loses the deep intimate relationship. When one loses the deep intimate relationship with the nature, then temples and masjid and mosque and police stations and courts and books and all these things become very, very, very important, including the film actors becomes very important. Because you forgot to act, you forgot to be moved with the main nature. When one falls in deep intimate relationship with the nature, then you can see its vast, its abyss. Yes. Like the Chakuruke says, you can see 2.5 kilometers, so beautiful. Not only you can see, you can even find out what kind of person it is. Like the Japanese kids, one look and the Japanese kids can draw when a person, what color of the eyes, yes, they can scan it that fast, yes. That's how the olden days and the village children are still like that, village people are still like that. The vast look, unless and until the villages have been pushed into a small cluster kind of a thing, forcing them to leave the land to come to a group so that they can fight and then fight for the water and for the sewage. Yes, making you fight morning till night is called a slavery, intended slavery without any rope on your neck. George Louis Leclerc said the discoveries that one can make with the microscope amount to very little. What you see through your book is very little. What you see through your factories and your companies is very little. What you see as a software engineer is very little. What you see as a scientist is very little. What you see as a police officer is very, very little. What you see as a politician, very little. What they see is only to loot the people. They see is only to cheat the people. Cheat in the sense they are innocent. Cheat doesn't come. It has become a way of life. They forced it into a way of life because you people ask for freedom. But then you can have two things. One, you go there to be a slave, but be conscious of that slavery. When you come back, you can open your mind. That's what I'm trying. When you go to the office, when you come back to your house, be next to your wife and your husband and children. The deep intimate relationship with your wife and children. Yeah, deep intimate relationship with your kitchen garden. Deep intimate relationship with your nature, that you wash your clothes with your hands and then dry it in the sunlight. You get a bit of sunlight. I know you don't even see sunlight. They don't allow you to see sunlight because early morning you get up and you have to go to office. By the time you come, sun itself is not there. You only see darkness. So I don't know, at least when you get your holidays, that you can do it, that you can dip your finger into the mud with what little mud, but avoid that what called flats. You can have individual houses or rush up to your village land. Yes. With the mind, for one sees with the mind's eye and without the micro, the real existence, all these little beings, small little beings, all the smallest love, affection, truth, growth, the family, joint family systems and the family tree, everything you can see, you can understand, you become a master. That love is vast. And you feel it, you can feel it, and then you find you are at ease, not at disease. When you are not in ease in the city, when you look through the microscope, you are diseased. And whatever you speak from the diseased mind is only borrowed knowledge, only nonsense. Hence, whatever the religious people talk, whatever we talk, you don't intend to understand. You start screaming at us. Avoid that screaming. Look into the truth. The truth is nothing but just being with the family. Going to, if there is a nearby park, go sit to the park. But talk to the trees, not to the people in the park. Hug the tree, not the people on the park. They do not allow you to hug, neither to shake hand this corona time. Shake hand with the trees. The tree will not get any disease. Yes. Even the doggies and the cats and the birds, you can go and talk. They might not talk to you, but you can keep talking, and one day you can understand they are responding back. That is the real existence of all these little beings, that the oldest Indian Maharshi, in the moment they look, they can say the past, present and future. That deep is the look God has given. If you do not use it, then it becomes disease. If you do not use it, then it stings. Stagnant water stings, flowing water is fresh water. Look, the naturalist, the father of the natural method. Georges Louis Leclerc completed the Buffon said in 1700, yes. The discoveries that one can make with the microscope amount to very little. Discoveries what you make from the book is very little. Discoveries what you make about the people, what you think about the people through your eyes of an IAS officer or case officer or a police officer or a politician is very little. Because you are totally disconnected from the nature of the rainwater, the solar, wind energy. The discoveries that one makes, the filmmaker, what he makes, the director, what he makes is very little. Because he doesn't see the deep, vast climate, the weather. And when that is connected, I think then there is a mastership, there is a beauty. Every filmmaker should make sure, every police officer in his office, every politician in the area must make sure rainwater harvesting, solar, wind energy is very, very important. Not only very, very important, you melt with that, yes, and grow with that. And then you have the trees that you go talk to the trees, to the animals. Mahatma Gandhi said, the culture of the people is known by the way they treat the animals, way they treat the trees, way they treat the nature. When that is lost, everything is lost. Then what's the purpose of this freedom? Why did you ask for freedom if you do not know and love that freedom? If you do not know how to love, do not get married. Yes. Marriage is a different ideology altogether. To look real into the existence of the lady, deep into the existence of the man, into the children, and into her family, to create a vast, big, huge joint family. Then you do not have to go to the small shop to buy small things. A nucleus family allows you to buy small things looking through the microscope. But when his joint family is vast, big, wholesale market, your mind goes to that big one. And then you can see the power. You have started using your power, what God has given you. Georges Louis Leclerc commented their Buffon said the discoveries that one can make with the microscope amount to very little. For one sees with the mind's eye and without the microscope the real existence of all these little beings. This is my 172nd short discourse.